a mathematical pattern. So in this lesson, you need to learn how to identify the pattern found in a sequence. So can you look at that list of numbers, the sequence of numbers, and find out what that pattern is, what's connecting each number to the next one, the one before it. And you also want to, once you've found that pattern, be able to write a formula so that you can determine any number in this sequence that you want. Here's your vocabulary. So the sequence is the ordered list of numbers. The term is that position in the sequence. So if we say the first term, you're talking about the first number. The second term is the second one, so on. And then there's two different types of formulas you're going to be writing. So there's an explicit formula. So when something is explicitly stated, it's direct. It goes straight to the point. So an explicit formula will let you jump directly to whatever term you're looking for. So if you want the 100th term, you can find that directly. Recursive formula is like when you're writing cursive. Right? Each letter is connected to the one before it. So the recursive formula will help you find the next term in the sequence. You have to know the one before it to get to the next one. So those are two different types. Goes over the vocabulary here as well. So let's look at some formulas. So a sequence has an explicit formula of a to the n. So this is some number term is 3 times n is your term number minus 2. And this is the explicit formula, so it's going to take me directly to the term I'm looking for. They want to know what are the first 10 terms. So if I want to find the first term, so 1 would be the first term, then you substitute 1 into the equation. 3 times 1 is 3 minus 2, give you 1. Okay? And then if you want to find the 10th term, you would substitute 10 in for the term number to get your answer for that as well. Okay, so that's an explicit formula. It takes you directly to the term number you're looking for. There's one for you to try. Right, now a recursive formula is one in which you need to know the previous term in order to get it. Okay, so this would be an example of number 2. You have a number of blocks in a two-dimensional period in a sequence. It follows a recursive formula. What is a recursive definition? So there's, you have this sequence. There's 1 block here. We have 3 here, 6 here, and there's a relationship between them. And in order to figure out what this next number is, I need to start and include the number before it. So they show you the pictures of the blocks. You want to write out how many there are in each one. Okay, and then you're filling in the dots. How did we get to, so for this one, for the second term, okay, they did the second term minus the first one. They figure out the difference between them is 2. Then they look at the third term. Here's A1, A2, A3, A4, A5, A6. Okay, for the third term minus the one before it now is a 3. And the fourth term minus the one before it is a 4, a 5, a 6. Okay? And then there's some important pieces you want to know. You always need to know the first term. In this case was 1. And then to get to the next term, so a to the 7 is going to be the previous term, so whatever came before it, and those are written like this, with a subscript n minus 1, plus n. So if I wanted to find a to the 7, it's going to be the previous term, which was 21, plus 7, because that's our term number. Now to write an explicit formula, it's a little bit different because I don't want to, let's say in this case, we want to know the 100th term. If you were going to find that using the recursive formula, you would have to know term 99. So you'd have to go all the way through term 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way up to 99, and then you could find the 100th one, but that would take forever. So the explicit formula is more useful in this case. Same thing, in order to find the pattern, they're filling out a table. So we have our term number, and then what that term is. And then you can see that they've also written out what the pattern is. So it's, all the numbers that came before it, and again, they're adding the term number. So for the fourth term, they added 4 to everything that came before it. The fifth term, they added 5. The nth term, it's going to be everything that came before it plus n. So they've written that out. And then they've also, so what they do is they start with the numbers and then replace them with their symbols to get their explicit formula. And then again, when you have the explicit formula, you can find the 100th term by substituting in your term numbers. If you're looking for the 100th term, that's what gets substituted for n. Simplify that, and you get 5,050. It's more for you to try. Number 4 is the same kind of skills, just using the calculator to help you out a little bit. So it says Pierre began the year with an unpaid balance of $300. So this is his starting amount. That's what the balance started at. So that's going to be A1. That's my first term. Okay. Because he had not read the credit card agreement, he did not realize that the company charged 1.8% interest each month on his unpaid balance. So whatever he owed in the previous month, okay, and the A to the n minus 1 represents our previous amount, he's going to get charged 1.8% interest. So he's going to get charged, he owes the full 100% of whatever he put on his card, plus he owes another 1.8%. Okay, so every month this is the percentage that he's paying. Percent means this number over 100. So if you divide that by 100, you get 1.018. So that's each month what his previous amount is being multiplied by. Okay, in addition to a $29 penalty. So this is what's left on his card that he owes. He has to pay 100 and 1.8% of that, and he's going to get charged a $29 penalty. So for any term, if you want to figure out what the month is going to cost, it's what you owed times this plus that. Okay. He ignores his credit card bill for 4 consecutive months before he finally decides to start paying it off. What did he owe after 4 months of non-payment? So what they're showing here is the calculator features. This float thing, mode float, is optional. It just is when you go to the mode on your calculator and you go to float, this is asking you how many decimal places you want. So normally we have it just set on float. So whatever calculation you do, it's just going to give you as many decimal places as it's able to fit. If you change that to another number, this is going to limit how many decimal spots you have. So because this question is talking about money, and we know money is only measured to the second decimal place, if you hit enter here, then the calculator will round all of your answers to just 2 decimal places for you. So that's the directions here. And then we already have our formula. So for the first payment he makes, okay, it's going to be this percentage that he owes times what the balance is. So the first one is balance is $300. So we're going to do that. Okay. And then we want to do it 4 more times. So what we can do is 0.018 of, if you press the yellow button and this button here, it'll input for you your previous answer. So that's what he owes the first payment, the second payment, and then you can do that again. Oops, I typed in 311 instead of 300. Making him pay more than he needs to. 300. Okay, so there's your first payment, and then we're going to do the same thing again. Multiply that answer. Second payment, third payment, fourth payment. So that will help you shortcut the calculations. Okay. After each example problem, again, there's this one to try here, the lesson check, and then as much additional practice as you feel you need, check your answers in the back of your textbook.